Hi, this is King Noble Dumbass, also known as Harold Eugene Damas. It is Saturday, the last day of the month, May 31st. Tomorrow is the Rock and Roll Marathon, downtown San Diego. Bus schedules are going to be all screwed up tomorrow because of that crap. I remember the first one when I got back from Colorado. It was funny. A downtown cop shot himself in the foot with his own gun. Wow. As you can see, I'm not screaming like I was in the last video I made for the mayor. I am severely sleep deprived. I now have 3 times I've been to jail, and I'm looking for all 3 of my arrest photos, which the police are trying to get rid of certain things, and I guess they want to hide the evidence of their incompetence, their ineptitude. My brother is extremely butthurt because I keep making references to being the real-life Harold and Kumar. My former employer, who, like the mayor of Chula Vista, California, claiming to be a veteran. Well, if the mayor could have been a real veteran, then he'd have been through boot camp, which teaches him how to set up a tent, tear it down, move. Got to keep going, soldier. Now, it's funny. I've been kicked out of multiple churches, most of which were willing to accept me back. I mean, I was just up at the Seventh-day Adventist Church today with this guy. He's a nice guy. I give him a hard time because he dresses like a white boy in a suit, and I used to. I mean, I worked in what, it's not a real haberdashery, but I mean a men's clothing store where I had to wear a shirt and tie. I looked very different than I do right now. And a big shout out to an old friend of mine I used to work with at Plaza Bonita. Her and her sister are a huge inspiration for me. I'm trying to do this because of the Wonder Twins, Las Hermanas Venega. They were both students of my aunt, La Madre María Eugenia Castañeda. They were born in San Pedro, California, which is where I lived for a short time with my aunt and her husband, my Aunt Sylvia and her husband Chuck Gray. Later, I will show you a photo with Chuck and Governor Schwarzenegger, a hero of mine, who once worked for both not only Ronald and Nancy Reagan, but George and Barbara Bush with the DARE program. Hans and Franz was even with them, and they're making fun of Arnold's accent. I love the fact that I think it was last year's Super Bowl, he was even laughing at his own accent. I mean, can't say neighbor. Whatever. I understand him. He's a great guy. I love the guy. I mean, they say he can't act. I mean, I'm sorry. Big naked guy like that comes into it, tells you take off your clothes. You got it, bro. Don't kill me. Conan the Barbarian, terrified. It's funny, and I'm doing this because, like him, I'm kind of funny. I can laugh at myself. I learned a lot of this because my dad, who I'm his namesake, had told me about my other dad, Jerry Lewis. That's right, I'm a child of MDA, the Muscular Dystrophy Association. For these kids, these new millennials that don't know it, that was something that was last millennium, about 1,000 years ago in another place. It seems that way. At least that's what the Star Wars flicks kept saying. But it's funny that even Darth Vader was in that movie Conan. Yeah, the guy in the voice you're hearing, that was the guy with the snake thing with the long hair. Yeah. And by the way, he actually does a great Bible reading. James Earl Jones. The white man that they had in the Darth Vader getup, I mean, so basically James Earl Jones was just doing a voiceover, and it's funny because I mean I love these things where they're talking about Morgan Freeman, great for voiceovers. Yeah, I love all the things that he's done for the History Channel, as has that other guy from the Jurassic Park flicks. Yeah. I'm a huge movie buff, and my dad said I'd never learn anything from the boob tube. Well, one of the things I've learned in the new millennium is that's how people get famous. And I'm not doing it for the fortune or the fame. I'm doing it to follow in the footsteps of a man who told me to defend my community at all cost. Damian Marley. The son of a legend, Bob Marley. Just down the street here, I was photographed with his granddaughter, Zuri Marley, daughter of another hero of mine, Ziggy Marley. Yeah, I love that family. The late, great Joe Mercer Marley had put my feelings to words to my feelings, where no one feels my pain. In his song, he says, "Except Rastafari." I say, "Except Christafari." Christ be for I, and I be for Christ. I'm doing these videos to show that I'm probably a little bit more forgiving than other people. I have a hard time with it at times because, well, yeah, I'm a spiritual being in a physical body, and the torment of this physical body and the dangers of living here. I mean, I remember one of my terrible times where I was suicidal, and I was working for the La Bella Pizza Garden out here, and I'm watching this video about this interesting guy named Steve Harvey, and he was talking about his father only made $5 a day. And imagine $5 a day, you got your wife, your kid, and 5 kids to feed. I remember being in Mexico for about 6 months. I went down and spent 6 of the hottest months of the year down where my mom's from. And I found out at the time the Mexican minimum wage then was $5 a day. So when Steve Harvey is talking, I'm thinking, dude, I can relate. I know people's like that. I don't know how the hell they live on that. And here it is in the new millennium. Thanks to YouTube, I saw that video with Steve Harvey. And it was interesting when I was at the Refinery Church here in Chula Vista, and a congregant didn't like me quoting Steve Harvey, but the pastor's wife, who had given me 6 food cards to give out to homeless people, which I did, and not one of these people had the guts to go back and say thank you to the pastor's wife. So I'm doing this partly because of that also. Most of these people were clients of NAMI, where Connie had instigated her husband to say something about beating me up. The clients, Frankie and Ted, both assaulted me. When all the provocation and all everything going on, I was in a terrible place in my head. I snapped, and I went inside of Don Pedro's. I dropped everything off, took my shirt off, came back out and said, "Hey, you guys want to dance? Let's dance." Frankie threw the punch. I leaned into it. It made contact. Ted proceeds to get up on top of me and try and put me into a headlock. So I went into what I call the crocodile death roll, because that's what crocodiles do. When I came out, I had one thumb in his eyeball socket, and I had my other hand around his throat. And the cop that showed up told me to get off. I had to comply, because had the cop just been a few more minutes, I could have killed him, and it would have been, well, self-defense. But the cop being there and telling me to get off, I had to, otherwise it would have been murder. Now, Ted, who's got this Napoleon complex thing where he thinks he's wonderful and all that, I was provoking him because an ex-girlfriend of his had told me certain things about him, which I kept throwing in his face. Not very Christ-like. Well, like I said, I live in a very nasty place, and it's done nasty things to me, and I'm not always the man I should be. And sometimes I lash out. But then again, I told you I was bipolar. I have a 25-year year history with this, and I now have a Social Security advocate on my behalf. So I'm hoping to get this and see what happens. So thank you, one and all. I hope you hear me out and understand why I've been so upset. So have a good day and God bless.